You're listening to the Coop Homeschool Podcast.
This is your podcast for community, humility, and joyful fun in homeschooling. I'm Mandy.
I'm Jessica.
And this is
The Coop. We're talking about road trips today.
Ooh, I want to go on one.
Yep.
Or I did, actually.
I know, I'm about to.
Yeah.
It's so fun. So today is part 1, which is creating the plan.
Oh,
yeah, it's a
fun.
4-part series because we learned there's a lot of parts to planning a road trip. So
An epic one.
an epic road trip.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, a one overnighter, okay, no big deal.
Sure.
But
Although-
an epic, like 2 to 3 week, educational,
Right.
all-encompassing, memory-making, family bonding.
Yep, it takes 4 parts.
Yes.
So part 2 will be adding the educational component. Part 3 is living the plan, the do's and don'ts. And part 4, real road trip ideas. So we're going to share some of the actual road trips we've done separately, together, as part of our co-op and all of that. So
Yeah, that sounds great. We have so much to offer.
I know. Before we jump in, Mandy, what's your scoop on the Coop?
Well, we went school shopping because we were starting school in September.
Right.
And it's actually, we haven't started school in September for a long time.
Yeah, no, you're always ahead of me, and I'm like, I'm after Labor Day kind of girl.
Yeah, well, I had every weekend was taken in August, so I was
Right.
like, I have no time to prepare or order stuff or whatever.
Right.
So we went school shopping at Target. It was super fun, just me and the girls, and then I took my son another time, and it was just a special time. And like when it was me and the girls, we were in the dressing room together giggling,
cute.
and I was trying on my first day of school clothes
course,
too,
yeah.
and I'm actually wearing.
Oh, cute!
It says choose happy because we're doing, the human body, and we're doing physical and emotional health. And so the emotional health, choose happy, I thought was just perfect.
That's so cute.
Yeah. So I got that for myself, and my husband was like, it's so cute. You have your first day of school outfit picked out. And I'm like, I know, I need just as much of a reward and a perk too, and
that little motivational bit.
yeah. So yeah, it was fun. What about you?
Well, I was busy planning for our spring study of California history. I found this really unique curriculum. I was super excited. And then, of course, I couldn't just take that and leave it at that. I was like, oh, it's a literature-based curriculum.
Oh, that's cool.
We've got books to explore. I love the missions here in California. And so I knew I wanted to incorporate more because it was just one small chapter.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, no, we're going to do more. And then I found books on our local Native Americans. That
Cool.
way we're also studying local San Diego stuff. So
And the Coop group gets to benefit from that too,
yeah,
don't we?
so I figured, instead of just taking my 2 kids on a field trip, why not invite the whole co-op? And most of the kids are around 4th grade, which is when typically the public institutional schools study it. So I figured, why not?
Yeah.
We'll do it this year.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to it. I know I have a lot to share about it, so we'll probably share my information another time.
Yeah. No, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go. I can't wait to have you plan it for me.
Right?
I mean, that's one of the gifts we can give each other as homeschool moms is planning educational, not just like a one-off, but an actual unit study for each other.
Girl, and you should see it too. I just got done revising it in a way and put it in our co-op folder.
Oh.
So it's now accessible to all of our co-op moms. And it has it broken down by topic too. So if there's just one topic you want to jump in on, here's what I'm reading with my kids if you're interested.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
You need to make an announcement about that.
Oh, I will.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get to road tripping.
All right.
So
Let's start our engines.
I know. Okay, so the biggest thing is creating the plan. I have 7 steps here. It's not overkill, I promise you. Once we outline the steps, you'll understand why they're all important and unique in their own way. Step 1, choose your destination or destinations. Sometimes a road trip doesn't end in one final destination. Sometimes it's about the multiple destinations you're going to.
Yeah. It's nice when you have at least one destination that's probably like 3 nights though.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the ultimate or not, just so you can do laundry and
Totally.
clean the undies and the socks and
I think it all depends on how you're traveling, especially because different places that you're going are going to have different accommodations. If you're doing a national parks road trip, it's going to be the same wherever you go. So longevity isn't as key. I would say it's definitely more about convenience and what you're hoping to get in. And so just kind of all of those considerations are really important to choosing your destinations and putting them in the order that you want to go on and building your own unique itinerary. Along those same lines would be the time of year that you're planning to go. if there's going to be snow somewhere and you don't want to deal with snow, you should probably know that. You need to look at not just the average temperatures of where you're going, but probably, the anomalies, what can happen. That way you can make an educated decision on whether you should do that or not.
Yeah, the road conditions. That's why we didn't go to Colorado in March, because you're like, you'll be driving through snow. And I was like, oh, no. I did not.
Right. At least potential snow.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so
we got caught
waited.
driving in California one year. I had no idea that on Highway 5, the largest highway in California, up to Oregon, you get high enough elevation you could be shut out from snow.
Wow.
No idea.
Yeah.
So it's really important to know what your average temperatures might be and then what kind of weather you could anticipate seeing.
Do you think AAA, so a lot of us have a membership to AAA,
Sure.
and they give you the free maps and the...
Right.
And the trip ticks, which, it's an app now.
Yeah.
Is that something that they would help with? Do you know?
I don't know. I mean, if you're stuck, you're stuck. I think you can call them. But
I mean, ahead of time, like when you're planning.
sure.
Like, I wonder if they'll tell you.
Like a concierge.
Yeah, like I have them print it. Well, now they don't print it, but I used to have them print out the trip ticks for me.
Oh, fun.
And I'm just wondering now if they'll say, well, anyways, that's for people to check out.
Yes.
Check out your local AAA.
Yeah, maybe they'll be a good resource for you in planning.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, there's the length. How long can you be gone? Can you coordinate work and school and other activities in such a way, to be gone for 3 to 4 weeks? Is that not doable? How can you use a weekend to your advantage? Or as homeschoolers, not be around on the weekends in certain areas? For instance, I chose to take our family road trip after Labor Day. So I'm going to be leaving on Labor Day so that when we get to our first stop, everyone should already be gone. Or not everyone, because...
Or packing up.
Yeah, but at least not around. And so I'm hoping for lighter crowds, although I think fall is the perfect time to go to all the places I'm going. So everyone else will be there too.
And some places are closed on certain days, so to check that, like Santa Fe,
For sure.
all the museums are closed on Tuesdays.
Right. Oh,
Even certain
such
restaurants.
important things. Yeah. So it's very important to be aware of where you're going. Get used to checking things out and really digging into detail. It's really not too much detail. You know what I mean? Like there's not really a point of saying, oh, we'll figure it out when we get there, because it could really foil your entire time in a certain place.
And if you don't have kids, no big deal. You can
fly by the
adjust
seat
and
of
go
your
somewhere
pants.
else. But your kids,
Right.
they're not going to sign up for another 4 hours because you didn't look
Right,
ahead.
and there's nowhere else nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big problem. So step 2 is build your itinerary. So once you've gathered your information and done your research, build your itinerary. Ask your friends or the internet about the places that you're going, because it's amazing the number of people who've done the trip that you're doing or have done portions of it, and getting their firsthand account can be extremely beneficial. So ask around.
Especially because they know you. They understand you and your kids and would know like which arches to send you to.
Don't do this hike. You won't like it.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I think it's really important to do that. Research your route. Are there cool pullouts on the side of the road that would be worth taking? That's information that's nice to know, instead of doing it on the fly and then finding out, well, I shouldn't have done that one, but this one 2 miles later would have been better, and you just didn't know. So don't go unprepared. You should know these things. Are there other cool places, cool sites? And, learning how to find that stuff is really important. One tool that I've loved is Road Trippers.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's a website and an app. And Road Trippers has been amazing because you can filter on the route that you already set and have them show you historical sites, monuments, turnouts. So
that's awesome.
You want a really amazing turnout, and then other people vote for them. So you can see that other people have ranked them. So we knew not to go to one place because it had less votes than this other one. So we're like, nope, we'll just stick to this route and go to this one instead.
That's so cool.
So there's a lot of amazing resources out there. Even MapQuest can do some of that for you. It'll show you what is around. Google Maps, it'll show you cool places to eat that's nearby. So there's all kinds of tools to start planning your itinerary and really get yourself looking. I love books still. And so I've really loved the Foder's Guide and the Lonely Planet guides. And so I got them for either the state or the national park or whatever it was, and just gone through it, because they'll show you, if you're here for 7 days, here's all these things that you could do. Here's how we recommend it. If you're only going to be in a place for 1 day, they'll give you a 1-day option. And it's really neat because it's the must see or the easiest kind of way to do it. And so I love those guides.
Yeah. And going back to the blogs even, I did arches for, a half a day.
Right.
And then they told you, go to the very end of the route first.
Sure.
And then work your way backwards, because everyone else is stopping in the order.
Oh,
but you go to the very end because that's where the hike is, and that's where. And then we noticed that when we were leaving our hike at 9, we got there at 6:30. We were leaving our hike at 9. The parking lot was packed.
It's crazy.
And people were just driving around waiting for people to leave, and everyone was coming in droves. But we had like an almost empty hike at
That's so cool,
6:30.
because you went to the furthest.
Yeah.
That's really neat. Yeah, and so, the guides, you can get them at your library. So they're not even a big investment if it's something you don't want to buy because you're only going to use it for this one trip or just look at it once. So I actually got all mine from the library, which is really awesome.
Yeah, great idea.
Just copied what I needed to copy. As Mandy said, there's blogs, and so that's a great tool, is looking up the blogs, because people have done this. That's the ask the internet, right? Is, get off of Facebook and Google it. Google who has gone there with families, and you can get firsthand accounts for what people have done. My husband actually doesn't prefer reading a blog. He would prefer a YouTube video.
Yeah.
So he will go and research a YouTube video for a destination and see what people have to say, whether it's, the must-dos or the best for families. You can filter it by whatever you're interested in.
Yeah.
So that's really neat.
Can I go back to researching the route, the gas stations?
Oh, yeah.
So the gas stations, I just want to mention, even on your guides, they'll say, there's a gas station here, even on your MapQuest or whatever. But when you pull over, the gas station might be a ghost gas station.
Exactly.
It's no longer there. Even the freeway sign is like gas for this exit, and you'll pull off. So make sure you look up your gas stations ahead of time, or pick major towns to get gas in. Yeah. And just make sure you do stop, even if you're half full.
Totally. And that's what the blogs will help too. So when you're thinking about that in your mind, remember that the pit stops are important too. So don't glance or just, gloss over that information. Look at it. It might be really helpful to to know, like, someone's saying, don't go to this gas station, go here if you have kids. It's really important and helpful. So,
and a pit stop could be a library. Like, you could go and stop at a library, go to the bathroom, let your kids run around in the children's section for a half an hour.
Totally.
And read some books, and then or a playground with the public restroom. We've done that too.
Right. Instead of just a literal truck stop, pit stop. Yeah. And then there's a few really cool websites that run their own blogs as well. Campendium is good. They have a lot of free information. And then they do have a subscribe feature. And then same with Drive-In and Vibe-In. That one's really been fun. It's definitely for RVers, a little more so than just road trippers. But they'll put together a blog post of like the best free camping in Nevada. And so maybe if you don't have a destination already in mind and you're up for an adventure, there you go. Now you can camp for free all across Nevada, or whatever it is. Yeah. So these websites are really amazing to help build an itinerary. Step 3?
Yeah, let's do it.
Types of accommodations. So you've done step 1, which is picking where you're going and kind of deciding what type of travel you're doing. Are you camping? Are you hoteling? Are you Airbnb-ing? All the different opportunities for staying somewhere else. So figure it out. Decide, if you're camping, that's going to require equipment on top of all the other things that you need in your car. So is that doable? Can you do a blend of things, camp and stay in hotels and with family or whatever it is, like make it a multi-modality road trip.
As long as your trunk is big enough.
Right. It definitely takes some space if you're doing that, or if you have an RV, I mean, bless you for having one, right?
Yeah, we had thought about camping for our Colorado trip, but we knew that when we camp, that car is completely packed.
Right.
And that was just going to be one of our experiences or two,
Right.
and not everything. So we needed a bigger suitcase for cuter clothes. And
Right.
yeah, so we knew it was not going to work for us.
Yeah, and we're doing a blend on ours. So we knew that we were hitting the national parks and we wanted to camp them. And so we knew what we could do without on our camping list. You know, we don't need the Easy Up. We can do without the Easy Up. We don't need, you know, this, that, and the other thing. We can really consolidate. I don't need my folding table.
Yeah.
We'll use the picnic table that's there and just make the best. And so I know I can consolidate. And then my mother-in-law decided to come too. So that ended up being a big blessing. And then we have more space in our car because we don't need a child in the third row.
Right.
We
Yeah.
can fold down our van completely in the back row. So that's nice.
And you don't have to worry so much about a big cooler because you could just go to a local restaurant. You don't have to cook
Right.
every meal like you do when you do like real camping.
Exactly.
As that is the ultimate experience.
Yeah, since this is such a destination rich experience for us rather than just going local, we definitely want to take advantage of checking out some of the cool restaurants or like the iconic places to stop.
the cute
you know?
little town. Yeah, definitely.
So that can cut down on space for sure. You know, there's so many unique types of places now. This whole glamping culture has really gotten big. There's tree houses. There's covered wagons you can stay in. You can stay on
cool.
boats. You know, it's just anything is out there. They even in our local campsite, we went and looked at the old campsite that we used to stay at, and now there's 2 or 3 reserved sites that look like they belong to a company that has now put really nice canvas tents up, like a permanent tent that they rent to people. So not only can you rent the campsite space, but you rent the equipment and you can go glamping. And so it's like kind of real mattress and everything.
That's what we're doing in Yosemite,
Right.
at Curry Village, where
Right.
it's a canvas tent. It actually has a door that locks, and then it has a bear box.
Yeah, so that's basically what they have now in our local mountains.
That's cool. Yeah.
So now if we have friends who want to come, we could go for right there and they can be glamping right next to us.
Totally.
Anyway, so there's so many really neat things too that you can find out there. You just got to do a little bit of research.
And how fun to kind of have different ways of staying
Yeah.
all along your trip.
Yeah, it's very eclectic. So
Yeah.
I started talking about it and segued, but we're camping through some of the national parks, and then ultimately we're going to get to Colorado where my sister is. And so then we'll stay there, and then we're going to camp our way back. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm specifically not sharing the details of that trip because I want to share it on part 4, the road trips we've actually taken. And probably in a blog post as well, because I have a lot that I'd love to share with you guys about how I planned and what I did. So I have a whole educational plan outlined with all my links and everything. So
awesome.
It's ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, friends and family here, hotels, Airbnb.
Oh, so let me tell you about the hotel. So in
Yeah.
Moab, we stayed at like the Moab Valley Inn.
Right.
And they have a whole laundry room, not just with like one washer and one dryer, but literally like you would see in a dorm. Like
Wow.
6 washers, 6 dryers.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was thinking, oh, that's so cool. If you're on a long road trip,
Right.
that was only our second night. So
Right.
we didn't need but if you do need to do laundry and you don't have like a family or friend that you're showing up at, how nice when it's at your hotel. So that's always something you could check out.
I know. I did. So it's funny that you mentioned that because
yeah.
we're staying at a motor lodge in one of our breakups between camping and camping again. So we're breaking up one spot and another by staying at a motor lodge. It was this just cute little spot that I was like, okay, let's do it. And I can't tell that they have a laundry facility. It doesn't say it anywhere. So I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to go out of my way to go to the laundromat. It's only on day 3 of our road trip. We won't need to do laundry. We'll make it work until we get to Colorado. But it's just really funny because I did that exact research.
Yeah.
So we're telling you this for a reason. You're going to want to know where you can wash your clothes.
Yeah, it was cool. I was like, oh, how cool. Because you get really dirty at national parks and hiking around and...
Right, and how much of everything do you really want to pack? Do you want to pack 14 days worth of underpants?
No.
Probably not. So you're going to need to wash them at some point.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's see. I think we covered accommodations.
Yep.
So let's move on.
Oh, can I give one little tip for accommodations? If you are staying with friends or family, bring a hostess gift with you or pick one up along the way.
Oh, that's cute.
And that could give you something to shop for in a visitor center. But we always bring them and we pre-wrap them and everything. And then if we stay in like a child's room, and they give up their room, we usually leave them a gift card to like their favorite store or to Amazon or something with a thank you card.
That's super thoughtful.
So be thoughtful of who you're staying with. And
Step 4 is recreation. There's got to be some cool things you want to see or do on your way. And so check them out. Do you need tickets somewhere? Do you need reservations? Those are important things to note. I just added a new destination to our road trip yesterday.
What
we're
is it?
leaving in 5 days. We're going through Vegas. We weren't planning to stop, but my husband's a Raiders fan. I know. But he's a Raiders fan. And, well, actually the whole family is. I'll get in trouble for just saying he's the fan. We are a Raiders family. And I just found out there's a Raiders Tavern and Grill now in Las Vegas. And so I saw that they recommend reservations. So I was like, well, that's the perfect pit stop from here. It's about 4.5 to 5 hours from here.
Yeah.
So we'll be ready for lunch. So I made a reservation.
Cool. You should use the scavenger hunt that I made.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
Between Barstow and Las Vegas.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah. For the tickets, like I wanted to go to Meow Wolf in Santa Fe. So I had to, right when the ticket window opened, I had to buy them because they sell out. And I have to say, at the Museum of Ice Cream in San Francisco at the time, I remember standing in line for the tickets we had pre-bought months earlier.
Yeah.
And a mother and her daughter walked up as if to go in on this special thing.
Right.
You know, she was dressed all cute. You could tell it was this special moment. And they're like, oh, is this your reservation time? And she was like, what do you mean? She thought she could just take her. So if there is a special place you want to go to, sometimes you have to buy tickets way ahead of time.
Right.
Like a place like Carlsbad Caverns, you have to make reservations ahead of time, even if it's basically free. I don't think I paid any money for them.
Right, but there's only a limited number of people that they're allowed to take into certain places.
Yeah. So, and they don't want the elevators to be clogged to go all the way down or the hiking paths to be. So yeah, you have to check out every place you're going to way ahead of time.
Yeah, definitely. So those tickets and reservations are really essential. You know, and national parks right now, Rocky Mountain National Park, for instance, requires a reservation to even go in.
Wow.
So just to go in and visit, we have to make a reservation.
Same with Muir Woods. Right. You're not allowed to park unless you have a reservation.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rocky Mountain National Park is definitely COVID related. I'm guessing Muir Woods isn't because
it's not because it's a neighborhood.
Before.
Yeah.
Right.
So that one, luckily my friend lived up there. Yeah. And and we were just going to go, and she said, oh, I just checked and they're requiring reservations. And I was like, good thing you did, because we would have driven there
just to be
and then
around. Yeah, that's crazy. So get your tickets, get your reservations, check out what's nearby, because there's usually something really cool to see, and you don't want to miss that opportunity or disappoint anybody.
And since everyone lost about a year because of COVID, you have double the people wanting to go places now.
Yeah. I've been booking my stuff back in June, which is 3 to 4 months early.
Yeah. And
I'm going after Labor Day, and things were booked.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Crazy. So we'll move on to step 5, travel preparations. So car maintenance. You got to get your car serviced before you go.
We spent $3,000 on our car, plus new tires, which was another $1,000. So we spent $4,000 on our car this year.
Yeah.
But it was almost at 150,000 miles.
Right.
We knew it needed a lot.
So you have your normal servicing, whether it's an oil change or a mileage service. You know, we hit 90,000. So I knew we needed service, and we did. So we got new spark plugs. Then I told them, we're going on a road trip. Can you make sure everything looks good? So they did the AAA inspection, is what they called it. They flushed fluids and made sure everything looked good. And then we took care of the tires. Yeah. So,
and that's, for us, that's when there were a bunch of things that popped up for them in their diagnostics.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing, is that could be a catastrophic expense. It's one thing to have a normal car problem, but it's another to be out of your town, not knowing where to go, not knowing if a mechanic is honest with you, or
not having reception. There were plenty of times on a road trip we didn't have reception.
Right. We're out here in the Wild West,
and it was like 106 degrees.
Exactly. It's dangerous. Yeah. It's not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely very important to make sure that your car is in good running order. When I was 20, it didn't matter.
But now we have kids in the car.
Let's go tomorrow.
And we're such a... Yeah. we're such cautious, geeks about our cars, you
Totally.
know? Yeah.
For a reason. I don't have the money to buy a new car on the middle of my road trip.
No, yeah.
No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to be flying home and being in one car.
And can I suggest run flat tires? So run flat tires, you can still drive for, don't quote me on this, I feel like it's 40 miles.
Sure.
And you get worse gas mileage and they cost a lot more. But like if you get a flat tire, you have that many miles to get somewhere, and you don't have to wait by the side of the road to hopefully have reception to call somebody.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one. Get your comforts and your tools. I know you found a couple amazing things for your car.
So I wanted to be able to, in the passenger seat, lean my head against something if I was tired, even sometimes without even going to sleep, but just to be able to turn my head to the side. And lean.
Awesome.
And so they had these things I saw on Instagram that literally you just put it on your headrest and they pull down just like an armrest pulls down. It's like a miniature armrest for your head.
It's almost like a booster seat or a car seat, how it has the side for kids. And so it's almost like that, but for an adult seat.
And I got an extra one for my son who didn't have a high back booster so that he could lean his head against something.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and then the other thing I got was, since each of my kids had tote bags, I didn't want them constantly on the floor and being stepped on.
Right.
So I got a hook that hooks onto the back of the headrest, and so it would be in front of them.
Right.
And then they could hang their tote bag and still reach in front of them, especially the one that's my kid that's in the 5-point harness. She can't reach down to the ground.
Right.
But she can reach in front of her and pull it up.
Yeah.
So
I ended up not one-upping that, but I had been keeping my eye on these back of the seat organizers.
Those are cool too.
And so I ended up going with the organizer because it does have a hook, but I knew that my daughter would probably love to spread her things out.
That's way better than a tote bag, but
well, I mean, they serve different purposes,
Yeah.
Because the tote bag, she'll still need it for what she doesn't want to keep in the car and take out.
Yeah.
But for the long stretches that we're going to be on, I thought it would be nice for her to have that, and then that way she can keep things away from her brother.
Yeah.
Because if she's spread out and got things next to her, he'll just grab it, and she won't appreciate that so much. So I figured those things, and then that will be helpful for her getting things for him. She can see what he's talking about. She can see what he wants. And then she can
reach over and get it.
And she can get it for him.
That's awesome.
He can't reach anything.
I love it.
Right.
Awesome.
So it was more because he can't manage a tote bag yet.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, so the comforts and the tools, if you don't already have a trash can for your car, get a trash can.
Yeah.
Amazing. Or you can do the old grocery bag trick.
I know, but those get lost in my car. So I finally did get the trash can. And then they always knew it was hooked to the passenger seat.
My van, the console has like a little flip back that you can put a bag on.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's just different things for different cars.
Fancy.
It is fancy. But actually, we're going to take our console out altogether, our center console.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're going to use bags or...
we don't have a center console, so...
I do like it for every day, but... what it can store is a lot less than what I could put there for a road trip. And so I don't need my cup holders there for the road trip when I've got, I have different cup holders, but my everyday, I take my smoothie and my coffee and my water, and I need all my cup holders.
Oh, definitely.
But on my road trip, I'll be fine. So figure out what things will make your drive more comfortable for you, for the kids. Do they need headphones? All the things. Make sure that they're going to be comfortable for their trip. And then we'll talk about...
And make sure they have plenty of leg space, because that's something we don't think as we're packing the car.
Right. And that's exactly right. That's why you went with the hook and I'm going with the organizer, because inevitably it'll all be at their feet.
Yeah.
And then they'll be annoyed. I'll be annoyed that they're stepping on it.
Yeah.
And then they'll be annoyed that they can't find what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, here's a big one. Step 6 is your confirmations. We can't stress enough how important it is to make sure you have a confirmation for every place that you're going, and that you verified at least once, if not multiple times, that your confirmation is valid.
Yeah. So what I did was I was creating a little comb-bound book, with a sheet of all the confirmations listed and the phone numbers and the addresses we were going to on the front sheet, and then the rest of the book was the printouts of the emails with the confirmations and the reservations and the tickets we mentioned earlier, all that in one little comb-bound book. And then I decided I'm going to call each of the locations and make sure I have the right address.
Yeah.
And guess what? One of them was wrong.
That's amazing.
And it was from Expedia. From their email
right.
of where I was going, it was the wrong address.
Right.
And so when I called, I said, do you have a reservation for me? And blah, blah, yes. And can you say your address? And they said it, and it was totally different.
That's crazy.
I would have ended up the wrong place.
Right. I know. So that story I've heard before. And I have been freaking out about my road trip because I'm like, who do I call to verify the address at the campsite in the national park?
Well, I know. That's
so
probably
I
fine.
can verify that on the national park's website. I'm pretty sure it's very reliable in that way. But it was just funny because I'm like, what if I'm mapping to the wrong place though? Because when you map Google Map or whatever, service you're using, if you just say you're going to this national park, it's confusing. And then even if you put in the campground, the name of the campground could take you somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So you actually you want to make sure you use the physical address of the campsite to map it. Yeah. Otherwise, you might map to some other place.
Yeah, sometimes we put in the visitor center because,
right.
we're not camping there, but we want to make sure
right.
we know the right side of the park to get into because there's sometimes multiple entrances. Exactly. And we're like, we want to enter by the visitor center because that's where the passport stamp is.
Exactly.
And we've got to go there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of thing is very important, not just for your own information, but for your mapping.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to end up on the wrong, like Yellowstone, for instance. There's multiple entrances. Multiple visitor centers because the park is so huge. You can barely drive it in an entire day, let alone stop in multiple places. And so if you don't know precisely where you're going, that could be catastrophic.
Yeah, and considering you don't always have reception, if you're just pulling it up right when you're leaving somewhere and then you're out of reception, you're like, oh, let me punch it in.
Nope.
You won't even know. The internet won't be available to you. Google Maps might, but
maybe
the internet won't.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
So make sure that you have your accommodation confirmations. Any other tickets and services that you're needing, have those confirmations printed, at least accessible on your phone as a download. So if you're offline, you have them like as a photo or a screenshot in your phone. And then, what was I going to say? I had a good one here was, your actual map. Download that. Yeah. You can download the Google Map or whatever service you're using. You can download the directions. Oh. So you can print the directions. You can download them. We bought a road atlas because I'm old school like that.
There could be detours. Yeah. I mean, that's why I was always using AAA TripTix. Right. And then I would do my own Google Maps. And sometimes there were different routes. But at least I had a route on paper.
Exactly. So I highly recommend, if not on paper, at least download it to your phone so that it doesn't require any internet service to be, internet service. What's the other word? Wireless.
Wireless?
I don't know. We're old. I don't know. I don't know what the right word. 4Gs. Your 4Gs. If your 4Gs aren't working. Anyway, so get those things downloaded. Make sure you have them. I love the idea of the whole book. So you have an actual book. You know where it all is. It's bound or, connected in some way so you're not shuffling through papers.
And also I send them to my travel partner.
Right.
So usually the spouse, and then I also send them to people who are not like the tickets and the maps and everything, but my one-sheeter of the itinerary with the addresses and the phone numbers of where we're going to be, because if something happened to me or I lost my phone and I could just call my mom.
Right.
And she could tell me because I email it to her, or if something terrible happened to us, they would know where we were going to be.
Where you should be. Yeah. Exactly.
And if we haven't checked in and we were supposed to check in and, so I think that's super helpful.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. I think that covers confirmations. All right. So step 7.
We could talk so much about confirmations.
It's really important.
It's the planners in us.
Yeah. Well, it's the experience of having gone places and seen it happen, whether it's to us or to other people.
Yeah. And one time I was in Spain actually, and I had a one-sheeter, and I got separated from my group on a train.
Yep.
And so I thought I was going to end up in Sevilla. By myself, and I'm like, well, good thing I have my trusty one-sheeter to know what hotel to show up at, because I didn't make any of the arrangements.
Not in your name.
Yeah. And so just having everybody on the trip, all the adults having that sheet would be helpul for that too, if you get split up.
For sure. All right, so step 7 is your travel partners. And so if you're planning a trip with a spouse or a friend, it's really important to make sure that they're fully on board for all that you're doing. Run it by them, or at the very least, if they want you to plan it all, make sure you go through it before you take off so that you're on the same page. If something isn't right or doesn't seem to fit with what they are hoping for on their trip, you have an opportunity to discuss it and fix it before you're actually there in the moment and maybe having a conflict about what to do because you have a plan.
Yeah. I mean, us homeschool moms, we know, and we'll talk about this in our educational component, but as homeschool moms, we always want to make everything educational. But I travel frequently with a friend who's not a homeschool mom. Yeah. And so I always check in with her, do you want an educational component or is this purely vacation?
Right.
Like, and then if you do, when are you okay with me doing the educational component?
Right.
You know, just checking in. And then also, if your travel partner has the buy-in, they will support you in it and encourage you in it instead of fighting with you on it. And I just road trip with my parents actually. And when only one person, whether it be me or my mom or my dad, when only one person knows where you're going and knows the route and the person driving doesn't, it's actually really hard because you're like, wait, no, not right here. We're not right here. And then they've already turned off because you said turn right at the second turnaround. Well, they're at the first turnaround. They didn't realize there'd be a second turnaround or whatever. So, so just if both travelers can review the route ahead of time for that leg, knowing, oh, we're going to be like 100 miles just on this leg. And then 2 miles on this one, I have to remember the second leg is really short and to be really tuned in to my travel partner directing me.
Exactly.
That will really help with the driving and the tension and all that.
Definitely. Oh gosh, I remember being a kid in the car just listening to the arguments about where to go. And oh. You know, and then there was no third party like a map or an electronic map to intervene. And so
sometimes
that
it's
was
funny
fun.
though, like in Santa Cruz when I was with my parents, that's why I brought that up. It was like, exit, you know, and it was like the next exit. But then all of a sudden there was this turn off. So that's where we were thinking to go. But no, it was literally like
weird.
I mean,
it was tricky.
10 seconds away from that one. That was just like a local road that wasn't in Google Maps.
Right. It didn't know to not tell you.
Yeah, so then we're doing a U-turn. And then it happened again the next time we went there.
Oh, jeez.
Because we were staying there, you know.
That's hilarious.
But
that's confusing when it tells you to exit and you think you exit right there.
Yeah.
There's a good one in The Office. Listening to his GPS and Michael drives into it like, it said to turn right here.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it means around the bend.
Well, and sometimes that's the thing. Sometimes the Google Maps is behind. So when I was in the Canaries, it was behind, and everything was turnaround and the circle turnarounds, and so it would be like turn right, and it was like, wait, which one? They're like, and we knew it was late or early. No, it was late. And so
you'd already missed it at
that
point.
Oh yeah, totally.
So you're just going around and around.
I know.
Oh, that's fun to be tourists.
Yeah.
Like,
awesome. Couldn't they just put a stoplight in?
Right. Oh, such Americans.
Yeah.
Plan together. There's been different parts of the trip that my husband's really enjoyed, like getting in on, you know, choosing the campgrounds we're going to stay at, or, you know, when I ask a question, he likes to do it, but I don't know if he would want to do the level of things that I'm doing. I mean, this is hours. This is me staying up till midnight.
Oh, yeah.
Because you read one blog, then you read another, then you read another, because you're like, well, I didn't think about this thing. Is this worth doing? Do I need to change my plan now? You know, it took me so long to really settle into what we're doing because I didn't want to miss anything. I didn't want to overplan. Like, there's a balance. And so, you know, I know that was a lot of work to ask of anyone to do with me all of that. But you know, he's had fun some nights just joining me and sitting there and we go through it together, you know, or I'll show him all my flags and the guidebooks that I have. Hey, look at this has a horseback riding opportunity. Should we do it here or here? And it's just been fun. So
it builds an appreciation too for all the work that's going into it. Because I spent at least 8 hours just on the return.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah. You did a big return. Yeah. That was fun. And then at the very minimum, provide them with the itinerary and the route. Like you said, just being able to look ahead and be able to help each other and go through it. You know that you're using the same materials. You have the same thing. Share it with them, you know, and so that you can be on the same page literally.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. And then there's a whole educational component in part two that,
So that comes next.
Yeah.
But now it's time for the
Coop
Q&A,
Q&A,
where we answer
your questions.
If you have a question you want us to answer, head over to the podcast page on our website, thecoophomeschool.com, or you can email us, mamahens@thecoophomeschool.com. Today's question: do you use only one thing to teach multiplication?
Oh,
You told me that you get asked this a lot.
I do.
Yeah.
So multiplication is such an important
Right.
skill in math. We've interviewed a couple people about this. Alex Kajitani,
Right.
especially, he was like teacher of the year for
Yeah.
the U.S. And
Mr. DeMeo has his videos of multiplication too.
yeah, because it's such an important aspect of math and sets you up for success for like the rest of your math, like academics, right? So we currently use Matthew C. So we have our curriculum. And then we also use Multiplication Nation with Alex Kajitani. So if you go to multiplicationnation.com, I think it's $5 a month. I've been probably paying for the past year and didn't even think about it.
Small business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like, I want to, my daughter started doing it. So my son did it already. And he's like a pro at multiplication now.
Yeah.
And my daughter's working her way through it. So she was
cool.
going to do it all summer. But then I was paying money if she did math workbooks during the summer.
Oh, nice. Right.
Because it's not like she wants to. So that's when the extrinsic comes in.
Yep.
And so she was doing the Kumon books.
Perfect.
And so that's practice too. There's also those, it's like this wooden, it almost looks like a Melissa and Doug.
Oh, sure.
Times table thing with the little pegs in
Mm-hmm.
it for a times table. There's the flashcards. So we haven't really done flashcards, but just using jelly beans or their favorite kind of candy is a fun game activity. And then having them keep score, like a lot of times that's skip counting. So when we play hand and foot, they have to skip count by 5s and 10s and not realizing that by doing that, they're learning some foundational skills of multiplication.
Totally.
I don't know. Do you have any others?
No, that kind of covers it.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We love your support. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast, leave a rating and review to let us know how we're doing, and share our podcast with your friends who need a little community, humility, and joyful fun in homeschooling.